Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Stephanie and I obviously have a very big announcement today. This might surprise some of you if you followed along on my last pregnancy because it was horrendous on my body physically. And I've been in physical therapy for 8 months. Since giving birth, I have had a terrible time losing weight and getting my mind in a good place. After I gave birth on Christmas Eve 2016 to my beautiful daughter Cecily, who's now 1.5 years old, I was doing pretty good. And then we had an unexpected death in the family. And I coped the way that I have coped in the past, with a lot of food and emotional eating. And then we got this great idea to sell our house and buy a new one for more space. So we changed cities where we didn't know anybody. We bought another house, which in the end is like the best thing for our family, but the selling and the moving and being displaced, living apart from my spouse and all of that, it was rough. Meanwhile, having a baby. So since having her, like that year between having her and when I joined Weight Watchers at the beginning of this year, January 2018, I lost almost all my pregnancy weight and then I gained it all back, plus a little bit. And I spent 8 months in physical therapy because I couldn't walk still, because I get really terrible pubic symphysis dysfunction where my pelvis separates and then I can't bear weight. I had a walker during my last trimester. So like I said, horrendous pregnancy. Horrendous pregnancy. I also had gestational diabetes. So that's why some of you may be surprised that I want another baby. Well, I can tell you that I was literally telling my husband in the hospital when I had Cece that we weren't done having kids yet. And he was like, "You are insane, go to sleep." Well, I just had this nagging feeling in my heart, in my head, and I couldn't shake it. And then every time I think about where I was physically with my weight, with my hips, and all of the problems that I've had with my pelvis and my pelvic floor, and honestly, who wants to talk about their pelvic floor? Nobody, including me. I was like, it's not possible. I can't have a baby. It's just not possible. And the more that I thought about not having a third baby, like the more sad that I got. I just couldn't shake the idea that I wanted another baby. It was like there was this voice in my head saying like, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. And in April of this year, I literally went from talking with my husband, and our conversation was like, the idea of even getting pregnant right now is like the worst idea ever. And I had told my physical therapist, I definitely want another baby. And she's like, okay, we think it's a possibility. I think we could get you through another pregnancy with a much different outcome. It might not be perfect. You might still have a lot of pain and, you know, things that you have to work through, but it probably won't be as bad as your previous two, because I had the same thing with my son. Okay. And then like a week after my husband and I had that conversation, about mid-April, all of a sudden like everything changed and I was like, I want a baby. And he was like, okay, if that's what you feel, then that's what we'll do. So I went to my doctor and I said, hey, doctor, I know the last time that we talked, I said I was probably done having kids, but I've changed my mind, but I'm worried because I'm still significantly overweight and I have not reached my weight loss goals. What do you advise me to do? Should I wait another 6 months, see where I'm at? And I just love him. He just said, when somebody that's your age, I'm 35, almost 36, comes to me and says that they want to have another baby, but they also want to lose weight, I say, you have your whole life to lose weight. You should start getting pregnant now because you don't have that long left of being fertile. I mean, he said it a lot nicer, but basically he's like, your fertility days are numbered. And I'm like, okay, well, awesome. So I had my IUD removed, TMI, but I did. And we started to try to have a baby. And I actually thought that I got pregnant the first month that we tried because I had a faint positive pregnancy test. And I will insert some of these clips so that you can see how crazy and stressful that month was. If I was a grocery store manager, I would not put all of the personal items in one tiny little corner of the grocery store. I was hoping that if I went late at night that I could avoid the crowds and go and like find a test all on my privacy, and I get my, you know, necessary filler items like a freaking loaf of white bread and a box of Lucky Charms with unicorns. And I turn the corner to go to the pregnancy test aisle, and there's a poor lady like trying to find a package of Depends, and another girl is in the yeast infection sexual health section, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then so she was on this wall, and then the other lady was on like this wall, and then the pregnancy tests were right in the middle, and there was a shopping cart, and I was like, oh, excuse me. And I'm like wandering around, so then I got another random package of something I will use it and need it, but oh, it's just the worst. What's most embarrassing is that I feel like now that I want to have a baby, I feel like I'm becoming psycho again, where I'm like, I feel so nauseous. I think I'm pregnant, and my word, I think I have spent like thousands of dollars on pregnancy tests. And I know better, and like my rational self says, Stephanie, your app says you're supposed to start your period tomorrow. But oh no, I've already taken 2 tests way too early. So tonight I was like, I legitimately feel so nauseous. I must be pregnant. It's been like 1 month of trying, and I didn't even have my cycle like regulated. So Okay, so this is like undoubtedly negative. Wait 3 minutes until reading the result. Not pregnant. Okay, there's not even a faint line, and I've had positive pregnancy tests where the line is very faint, but this is like a for sure, no questions asked, negative. Well, bummer. I guess we'll just keep trying for another month. I guess I'm supposed to wait 3 minutes, but I've taken enough tests to know that in 3 minutes, nothing is going to appear. Yeah, nothing's going to appear. Not pregnant. Wah, wah. Okay, I guess I'm just late. I'm super bummed. I was really hoping that I would be pregnant. So, obviously, I did not get pregnant. And I was bummed. So the next month, I had very low hopes of getting pregnant. I was like, well, I may as well just like really use this time to like try to like really focus on weight loss and really try to just enjoy the summer. And I was thinking maybe it'll happen this fall. So I got really on board. I had really been wanting to transition from Weight Watchers to keto for like a bajillion reasons. And I made that transition. And like almost right around the time that I decided to like jump both feet into keto, I took a pregnancy test, and it was again faint positive. So I went to my doctor. I had her draw my blood because I was like, I'm spending $40 more on pregnancy tests like I did the last month. And my HCG came back inconclusive. So I went back in a few days, and it had almost tripled, which was a good sign. And she's like, well, I still don't know for sure. This still could just be a chemical pregnancy, but I'm cautiously optimistic. So let's give it another week. So like, okay, yeah, stressful. So we gave it another week, and by the time I went back and tested again, I had had a couple like very strong positive pregnancy tests from the Dollar Tree. Thank you, Dollar Tree. And my HCG levels were like in the normal pregnancy range. So when I went in for my first ultrasound, I thought that I was like 8.5 weeks pregnant. And they were like, nope, you're only 6.5 weeks. So that is probably why I had that faint positive, very low HCG levels. And it like took an extra week or so to start getting in the normal range. And yes, I wanted to cry when I realized that I had to have a week 6 and 7 twice. So I am 8.5 weeks actually pregnant, and I am sick as a dog. I'm sipping on a little tiny green smoothie, and I am just trying to get through the days. I feel really sick at night, like very sick, and I just count down the minutes until my husband walks in the door, and then I go lay in bed. When he is off work, as soon as I have a little bit of dinner, I go and I lay in bed, and then I usually come back up after a couple hours and I have like a little tiny snack. And I find that like simple, easy, digestible foods do best with me, which is why I'm having a little bit of a green smoothie. So that probably makes you wonder, what happened to keto? What happened to Weight Watchers? Well, let me tell you, I was doing keto, and I had read on Maria Emmerich's blog all the magical things that keto does for pregnancy, morning sickness, etc. I did not have any of those awesome results. I actually felt, once my morning sickness kicked in, I had been in keto, I had been doing keto, and I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good. My macros weren't perfect, but I felt like I was getting in a routine. And then all of the food aversion started to happen, the extreme nausea, and I felt like what I was eating was like heavy enough that I just couldn't do it. However, I have had gestational diabetes with both pregnancies, and right around that time that I found out I was pregnant, I had started testing my fasting blood sugars, which I had mentioned in the video. They were just barely outside of the normal range. So I talked to my doctor, and I said, I probably have diabetes already. I'm freaking out. So he gave me the little glucose drink that normally women take at 28 weeks, and I'm going to take it in 2 weeks. I'm probably already diabetic. I probably am. But he said, get through the next little while, eat what you can, try to eat as healthy as possible. We'll do the test. You may be diabetic, you may not be. So I just said, okay, I'll do my best. And mentally, I am doing my best. And when I tell you that I'm doing my best, I am doing my best. Thankfully, I do not have much room to eat. So I have not gained or lost any weight. I'm not eating low carb enough to be keto. And I apologize if you recently found me because of a couple keto videos that I had posted, that I'm not going to be doing keto for the time being. But when I had gestational diabetes with my daughter, I made it through without any medication, and the amount of carbs that I was able to tolerate at the end of my pregnancy was like keto range. Like I could barely handle like maybe 30 to 40 carbs a day total. And I had to really I basically couldn't have any carbs in the morning, and then I could have some at lunch and some at dinner. So I will continue to manage my carbs. That's why I didn't switch back to tracking Weight Watchers, because I know that just sticking in the habit of tracking my macros and tracking my carbs is going to help me get through this pregnancy, especially if I have diabetes. So I'm going to continue to really watch the carbs. And so you'll still see a lot of low carb eating and a lot of low carb food. You might not see a ton of that during this first trimester, but hopefully as I kind of get out of the major food aversions, the major nausea, I feel nauseated 24/7. I wake up and I feel sick. I feel sick all day. Sometimes I just try to ignore it and keep myself busy, and then there's other times that I just can't. And being tired makes it worse. So obviously at the end of the day, it gets worse. And if I eat the wrong combination of food, I had a toasted cheese sandwich yesterday and some cottage cheese, I felt so sick. It was crazy. So I hope that I have answered some questions. I could sit here and ramble on and on and on and on and on. I'm still seeing my physical therapist. Yes, already I'm like starting to become aware of my hips, and luckily they gave me some exercises where I can do some manual adjustments and try to like keep the alignment. They've already had me like, I've been doing these I call them like extreme Kegel exercises to try to like really build my lower core so that it's not so weak and pulls everything else out of place. I have been trying to continue to exercise. I have a yoga DVD that I honestly haven't done for like a week, but I was doing it about 3 or 4 times a week. It was all about all hip movements, all hip and core, lower body. And I have been going to the pool. So I've done a couple of water aerobics classes. I have ridden my spin bike a couple times, but I know that staying active and doing the right kinds of activity and the right kinds of strength training for my core is going to be like critical. So I'm not just going to like kick my feet up, you know, and just coast through this pregnancy. It's going to be work. And taking care of 2 kids right now is work. In fact, today I am miserable. Our air conditioner went out. We're in the middle of a heat wave. It's the second time this summer that went out. Luckily, we got like the right fix this time. So that's not going to be an issue, but it was so hot today, and I decided that I'm going to wean Cece. She's a 1.5 years. I tried to wean her in April when I knew that I wanted to get pregnant, and I went on like a 3-day girls trip, and I lasted about 45 seconds when she like begged to nurse. I don't know. I love nursing my babies. It's just a really sweet, special thing. And like even talking about it right now, like I could tear up just a little bit, but I have been so sick, and she wants to nurse like 3 or 4 times a day. And I just feel like I can't do that right now. And, I figure it's probably better for me to wean her, get through this pregnancy so that I'm not like trying to nurse, like tandem nurse. I did think that it would be really nice to tandem nurse, because if you've ever breastfed, like I know that I'm like queen breastfeeding forever, but let me tell you what, getting to that point, I think it might be harder than labor. Dealing with like plugged ducts and infections and like calluses and all of it. Like breastfeeding is so painful. I think that it is probably one of the most painful parts about the whole pregnancy, childbirth experience. And I know that people just make it look like it's this beautiful experience where you're just like out in nature, like breastfeeding your baby. And I know that I breastfed on camera on here because I love to nurse my babies. And I was like, well, maybe I can just keep the equipment like all ready to go for the next baby. But then my mother-in-law told me that that when you have a new baby, if you're still breastfeeding, that you don't get like the colostrum and all of that, which is like the super high nutrient stuff. And if I am saying words that make you want to vomit, like maybe you're not into pregnancy or mom stuff, then sorry. If my language is offensive and if the use of the word colostrum makes you want to gag. But I am pregnant. I am overjoyed. I have already had an ultrasound where they confirmed the viability, so I'm hoping and praying that everything continues to go well. Normally, I know that you're not supposed to announce a pregnancy until after that first trimester because a lot of things can happen. That's typically when people miscarry, if they are going to miscarry. And my first pregnancy was a miscarriage. I miscarried at about 11 weeks, but I had not had an ultrasound or anything to confirm viability. And so I don't know if that was even a viable pregnancy. It most likely was not, because most miscarriages are just not a viable pregnancy. So I am pregnant. I am sick, but I am trying to just power through it because the show must go on. Hopefully soon, in the next month or so, the nausea will fade. I was sick with my first son until 16 weeks, and I was sick with Cece until 18 weeks. So I might be in it for the long haul, and that's okay. It comes with the territory, and it is the price we pay to have those beautiful gifts from heaven that we get to raise. And I could not be more happy. And I really thought that Cece would be my last, because I really didn't think that physically I could endure another pregnancy. And so I just have a real sense of peace about this pregnancy. I have this sense that, I don't know, I just feel like this is like going to complete that piece of my heart that I have been like stewing over basically for a year and a half. So I hope that you are excited for me as well. I hope that you'll stick around on my YouTube channel. I will continue to upload videos. I might upload random content and it might not interest you, but I promise that I will continue on my health journey. I'm sure that I will still be losing weight and making videos about weight loss after this baby, and I can guarantee you that I will be posting lots about low carb eating, because I know that that's what I'm going to have to do, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have diabetes this time around. So until I have the official diabetes diagnosis, I decided that I'm not going to over stress about it, because I will have literally like 8 months to obsess over every blood sugar, every carb, everything. Like, I get crazy, I get obsessive, I get like nuts about the blood sugar. I ride my bike, I like exercise through my whole pregnancy with Cece. I don't know, I just get obsessive about it. I like to be a really good patient. So anyway, I'm gonna finish sipping on this green smoothie. I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna work on editing this video hopefully soon and get it posted. And thank you so much for being part of this journey. This is like the longest video ever. If you've made it this far, congratulations. I probably wouldn't have made it this far if I was a viewer. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.